Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to share with you a clip from a recent live event, and we're going to talk about XRP, the recent decision that XRP is not a security, and what the implications of that might mean for SPS, for Splinterlands, the company, and for the altcoin market generally. I think this is an exciting moment. This is a big deal. If you're not paying attention, I think you should be. And I definitely think it has direct ramifications for the likely future and security of SPS and Splinterlands. So stick around, stay tuned. Before we get into it though, check out SPLINTERCOACH.com. It's an amazing website that will track your personalized battle history. And with it, you might, one, find some fun as you analyze the data of how you win and when you lose. But also, two, you can get better with this game because you can see how something is not working and then maybe change it up so that you can start growing and winning more often with certain splinters. I used to really suck with fire and now I've gotten better because I've changed some things. Also, I was really struggling even with water with Kelia, but I've tweaked how I'm using her, and she is my most used summoner and has a pretty strong performance of 468 win percentage, under 500, but she plays 250 out of my, 1,600 matches or something that I played. So she's a huge proportion of how I play. So SPLINTERCOACH.com is both fun and it will help you win more as you learn why you're losing and therefore improve. So check it out, SPLINTERCOACH.com, $5 a month. Let's get into the video, guys. Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Hope you're doing well. Hope you are excited to watch this, like those green candles yesterday. Cryptocurrency had a little bit of a fun run. Bitcoin was up 5 or 6%. XRP was up a wild, I think it was 90% at the top of yesterday. Even look at ETH just pushing 2,000. Look at these charts, just a parabolic boom yesterday. Yeah, it's a fun season to be a cryptocurrency holder. And somebody said, I was listening to YouTube yesterday and somebody was saying there's 35 days in any given year that you need to be holding the right coins. And people come asking, should I buy XRP after a 90% pump? And it's like, guys, no, you build bags before there's a pump. But many people are too scared to do that during a bear market, when everyone's scoffing at it, when everyone's mocking it, when everyone's saying the caliber of the token or the currency or the game or the cards, they're not valuable. No one wants them. It's dead. It's dying. That story has been said so many times. It is laughable to me. Cryptocurrency is revolutionary. Blockchain-based ownership of assets in a video game is revolutionary. And if that's your opinion too, then we build our bag with a dollar cost average, slow and steady, reasonable and prudent, recognizing what we're holding, even when there's a zero crossed, like a soulbound card or a gladiator, recognizing that one day we believe the utility of this token, of this NFT, will carry a price that's meaningful. SPS at 1.6 cents the other day or whatever it was, people talking about, even myself, not knowing where the floor is. But I said specifically, I don't know if this is the bottom, but I don't care. If it goes lower, I'm going to buy more. Once you get your head into a place of, I agree, I know what I'm doing. I'm confident in my plan. I've made my bed. Now I'm going to lie in it. And that place is so different than the average person who waits for massive green candles and says, hey, what's going on over there? And then chases. That person almost always gets roasted. Now you might get lucky. You can get lucky. You can go into Vegas and put $100 on black and walk out with double your money. That's cool. But what I'm talking about is not doubling money. I'm talking about 10x or 20x or 100xing my investment, life-changing wealth. Life-changing opportunity that comes out of knowing, planning, building a bag, waiting for the massive bull run, parabolic movements happening, and then taking advantage. That's what I want to do. I don't care about doubling $100. And I think yesterday was a fun reminder that it takes, let's say, 35 days out of a year, 10% of the year, there's moves that'll happen, and the rest is just white noise. And when your coin goes up 100% in a day, or when XRP or SPS goes up from 1.6 cents to 2.4 cents, if you built a bag the other day when it was like below 2, I forget how low it went, but you're paying radically different price points even now, and that's just a minuscule increase in the price. If we get to a 5-cent SPS, how is somebody going to put together a million SPS? It's a totally different picture than at today's price, or at yesterday's price, or at the day before that's price. So it's like, decide what you believe, make a plan of attack, prudent and reasonable steps for dollar cost averaging the whole way, recognizing when no one else wants it, that's when you need to accumulate, not because no one else wants it, that's incidental. But you don't let other people's desire or resistance influence your calculations. You have an opinion. You've decided something's valuable. You believe in SPS. You believe in cryptocurrency. You believe in Splinterlands and blockchain-based video game tokens, the video cards, or whatever else. And so when everyone else is ignoring it, if you can, you just DCA into a bit more and a bit more, because you know that what you believe in holds value, and you know it has utility. You know that when the SPS token spikes, the rewards for playing the game spike US dollar value wise, and that will draw new eyeballs, and that'll mean they need new cards. And then when they need new cards, I'm holding those cards, and those cards spike in price. And so you prepare for 330 days out of a year, so that 30 days of the year you can see a benefit. And yesterday was one of those. What a fun day. Gathering, good to see you, buddy. Implications of the XRP ruling. I hold XRP. What is the price now? Yeah, XRP is my main cryptocurrency bag outside of Splinterlands. And XRP is currently at 77.4 cents. And it's up 140% this year. It's up versus Bitcoin 57% this year, in the last year. In the 7-day average, 65%. It's just been like, we're, by all analysis that I've seen, we just broke a resistance line that was like years in the making. Like, there was a downward trend. There was a wedge that was forming. Again, I'm no TA guy, but yesterday was a monumental move up, both from a technical analyst perspective, but also from a fundamentals consideration because of the ruling. And for those who, maybe I'll clip this later because this is something that pertains to me and maybe therefore pertains to some of the audience. You will have already heard XRP was, with the summary judgment that was released by, I think, Judge Torres is her name. XRP sales from person to person, from when we go onto a website and we buy, you go to Coinbase or you go to Binance or wherever you would have bought XRP over the existence that it's been sold and bought and sold on exchanges. Those purchases and sales are not an investment contract because you don't even know who's buying them. That was, in summary, what she said. You don't know who you're buying from. You can't, there's no obligation. There can be no promise of a return on that investment, and therefore it can't be a security. That's amazing. It means that XRP can immediately be relisted on things like Coinbase, and Coinbase relists XRP was like within a couple hours. We saw Coinbase and Kraken 18 hours ago among exchanges to relist XRP after court ruling. Coinbase rallies the most since public debut after Ripple ruling. So they did relist it. They did. I saw it on there yesterday. Yeah, Coinbase announces relisting of XRP 16 hours ago. And so, sorry about that, guys. So this is a monstrous deal. This is a monstrous deal because it has implications for the purchase and sale, just the general distribution and use of this token. Because most of the sales that are going to exist are not going to be ones that are, from Ripple, the company, to massive company number 2. And yes, that happened. Those are still up for grabs. Those are still, the Torres essentially said that those were like a listing of a security because they sold like millions of dollars or millions of XRP to some investor. And there might have been, who Ripple is. 2, you understand that XRP is tied to the utility of Ripple when you bought the millions of XRP. And so 3, maybe there is an expectation of return. So that's still a hurdle for Ripple, the company. But that's a clear runway for XRP token holders. Hence the spike. And it has massive implications for SPS, for the cryptocurrency marketplace. And I think that's why we saw yesterday more than just XRP pump. Yes, XRP was the leader, but I mean, Solana had a good run. And yeah, like I said, look at this green across the board. EOS even, I'm surprised. EOS is a funny one because it already had clarity given when Block 1 paid their fines years ago now. Yeah, there's some green out here. And so how does this pertain to SPS? Well, SPS is very similar to XRP. XRP was printed by the company, or like by its creators, and then half of it was put into an escrow essentially, and it's not being printed, but it's being released on I think a weekly basis. And SPS is similar in some sense. Like all of it was created, the finite number. Not exactly. We know how much there's going to be, and every week or every day there's a certain amount more created. And the white paper lays out how much that sort of distribution model will issue daily or weekly or monthly. And so there's a finite number, but it's a big number, and it's growing because it's not fully out in the wild as yet. So very similar. And then similar to XRP and Ripple, SPS was minted by a company, Splinterlands. XRP wasn't minted by Ripple, but XRP was minted by its creators, and SPS was minted by its creators. And then those tokens are being awarded in a certain way or distributed into the system in a certain way. And SPS was sold, as was XRP, to certain angel investors at the onset for very low prices. I forget what. I think it might have been half a penny or something. But you needed some serious coin to get in at those price points. It wasn't just like, hey, do you want to buy 10 SPS? And so there's 2 things that can be drawn from that. One, SPS token sales between us are almost certainly not a security. Just as XRP is not a security when it's being traded on Coinbase between buyers and sellers. You might assume, though, and this could be bad for Splinterlands the game, that SPS sales before the launch, like when they were like angel investors came along and bought them for half a penny or whatever it was, those individuals or entities might have been expecting a return. I think that's kind of probably goes without say. And so then the entity might have been, in a sense, committing to a contract with Splinterlands. Hey, Splinterlands is going to sell you this token for X value, and we expect to build the utility into it. And here's what we're going to do. And you guys have confidence in us as a company. And so that then might be perceived as an investment contract. That is different, though, that doesn't mean the token's a security. It means that was a sale. That was a unique moment and a unique sale of a security because a contract was spoken or unspoken at the time of that. And that's essentially the story that's happened now with Ripple and with XRP. And so it definitely pertains. And I'll add, the Ripple is almost certainly going to fight that. So I think, as I understand it, that is like I think a summary. I don't know all the legal jargon, to be honest. I shouldn't pretend like I do, but I, I'm well aware. I know this for sure. Ripple can fight that portion of this. The part that I said about how XRP is not a security when it's traded between buyers and sellers on a given exchange. That is done. That's law. That's over. That's it. That's great news, and it's on the books, period. But this other part about how Ripple may have sold securities, or probably did, let's say, is still up for debate and may well be fought. And then the same story could and probably will one day, especially if we grow to a place of significant size, be fought within the SPS world. And that might mean Splinterlands, the company, then has to have this conversation at some point in the future. But hopefully by that point, you see, one of the benefits XRP walked through during this period of time was that XRP carries such a significant value that the token itself makes the company Ripple, who holds a number of them, super well off. And so as a result of their affluence, they're able to defend themselves just, what's that word, vigorously. And ultimately win, in part because of their caliber and quality of the lawyers they were able to retain. In part because, truthfully, the SEC's argument was garbage. But my point is that SPS and Splinterlands is probably going to walk the same line. There's so many tokens. There's so many things happening. I suspect we stay under the radar. Watch SPS just grow and grow and grow, because this game is great and the ecosystem's good, and the tokenomics makes sense. And then we get to a place where Splinterlands, the company, has crazy valuations, and they can defend vigorously and win, handedly. And I think that is more the future now than I felt it was yesterday. Do you see what I mean? Like, there's a larger degree. There's still a certain cloud of uncertainty around what will happen with how the original sales would have transpired, and what that might mean in terms of penalties or whatever for the game developers, or the people who, like probably Matt Nagrod or whoever, participated in those sales. But that doesn't mean that would be it. That no longer feels like it would be a black swan to the game. It just might be a hurdle for the developers, and even that would be foreseeably overcome through some sort of, usually nominal penalty, especially as you recognize the token appreciation, generally speaking, just gobbles up these things. Like when we look back to what EOS and Block 1 did, they were worth like multi-billion dollars, and they paid millions. It was like they're worth, I think at the time they might have been worth $5 billion in Block 1. That's the company that that's essentially it's like a Ripple for XRP. Block 1 is to EOS. Not exactly, but kind of. And they were worth multiple billions, and they paid something like a few million. Does that suck? Yes. Did it break them? No. Ripple will probably have to do something similar to pay off pay for their error. And maybe one day Splinterlands, the company, or the creators of SPS will have to do the same. I don't know, but it no longer feels like it'll be a black swan event. It just looks like it would maybe be an annoyance, a nuisance, a token trivial payment to the powers that be, because that's really, to be honest, the Securities and Exchange Commission, frankly, is just shaking down cryptocurrency. They're not protecting the user. They're not, instilling confidence in the ecosystem. They're literally just shaking down deep pockets for their own gain. That's what I see. And so that's what I see out of the XRP ruling yesterday, and that's how I see it pertaining to Splinterlands, specifically in SPS. I think there's a lot of similarities. I think it's an amazing positive ruling for cryptocurrency broadly. That's why you saw the green candles. And I think ultimately it points us to a greater degree of confidence, while still there's a certain amount of uncertainty. I think you should have so much more confidence that SPS is probably safe from a real black swan, game ending, broken, lawsuit moment, because there's a lot of victory in what happened with the XRP ruling. Gathering says, you heard that XRP may be used by the global financial system for country-to-country payments. Price may go up into the hundreds, if not thousands per coin. We will see. Definitely exciting times. I don't buy those sorts of trajectories or promises or those expectations. I've heard those theories too. And there's some real interesting, like, it's funny because it feels as though there's like actually a lot of like justification or logic to something like that, where like, for one example, you say the token is so easily transmittable, and you look at something like Swift, and you look at, there's hundreds, I think there's trillions of dollars, it might be hundreds of trillions of dollars in value stored across the globe in accounts that's held there to complete transactions. It's like when I send you money in Germany, what actually happens is my bank calls your bank in Germany and says, hey, our customer wants to send $100 million to your customer. And then they don't necessarily even move the money because there's already millions and millions and millions, trillions even on the European end that can be used to immediately conclude the transaction for you, the recipient. And that's part of the Swift marketplace, where those entities will essentially on a phone call, you make those trades happen. And yeah, they adjust their banking sheets. So now there's the 100 million less on my end in Canada, in whatever bank I'm working with. But they don't need to send the physical currency. This is how they've gotten around the cumbersome nature of delivering cash from one entity to another. But the problem is it's so much simpler and trustless when you get into an XRP token or something like that. You know, you hate XRP, even something like Litecoin. Within seconds, you can send millions, billions, crazy amounts of money from one entity to another, with no slippage, because the transaction happens with XRP within, I think it's less than a second or something. I forget how fast it is, to be honest, but it's very, very, very fast. And so there's no slippage in value. It can be the values translated into XRP, transmitted across borders, turned into whatever local currency it wants. And that all happens instantaneously, meaning no slippage, no loss, an instant delivery, trustless system. Smart contracts can allow it to be completed without trusting that Dwayne sent it. Once it's sent, I can see it's sent. The contract said X needs to be sent, and then we're good, right? It's just smart. It's like absolutely the future. So I get why people start to speculate about those sorts of realities, but I don't agree, and I can't imagine it, because I say to myself, if XRP even got to, $25, think about it right now. If you have, there's an XRP rich list, XRP and rich list. There's an XRP rich list. There's a rich list for every coin. You could see the SPS rich list, etc., on Peak Monsters, but every coin has this sort of thing, and you can see that some addresses have. I'm sure that some of these are exchanges, but I mean, look at this. There's a lot of wallets here with over 50,000 XRP. If it got into the hundreds of dollars, just imagine what that would mean. 50,000 times 100. $5 million, 50,000. But again, that might sound actually kind of reasonable. But if you go like this, 50,000 times 0.45, which it was very recently, you're talking about $22,000, because it was 45 cents very recently. And then you're saying $22,000 turns into 5 million. It just, the multiplications, while theoretically possible, seem highly, highly, highly unlikely, because, as you get even to like a $10 price point, those people who are holding it from a 50-cent range, I'm holding it from a 20-cent range. There's no way they keep holding it. Do you see my point? So then it becomes, and my example is XRP, but take this to apply to SPS, to Bitcoin, to every coin that ever existed, because I think the same mechanics are true. Imagine that you bought the token at SPS. Let's talk SPS. You bought SPS at 2 cents. You bought 1 million of them. It goes to $1. Could it go to $5? I think so. One day. I really do. But let's imagine you bought SPS at 2 cents and you have 1 million of them, and you're waiting for $5 price point. It's possible. It's possible. It is. But that's such a crazy multiplication from your 2-cent investment that everybody who was with you and went deep and bought at 2 cents, or forget about 2 cents, who was part of those angel investors and bought at half a penny, when they see it get to $1, don't you think that 200x is going to make them sell? Because again, they I think the angels investors got it for about half a penny. Might even have been a quarter of a penny. I forget now. This was all public back then. It might be online if somebody wants to look it up. And if you can imagine that pressure would be, one, significant, and two, that they would almost certainly sell at 200x or more. Because again, if they got it for a quarter of a penny and we go to $1, that's I think is a 400x. I think, if I'm doing my math right. It is. So that would be a for sure sell, I would think. That would be huge pressure. That would drive the price down. And that's why even when you get these crazy parabolic moves, you almost necessarily have to slow and stop at some point. Like the parabolic move has to end before you go to, you're talking like at $100 or $1,000, you're not talking about a moon mission on XRP. You're talking like a mission to Mars or Jupiter. So it's like $8, $10 is like what everybody that I know says with XRP is like a moon mission. And that's, people say that's unlikely. But if we get there and then we start talking, well, what about 1,000? Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it could be possible, but it's such a different conversation that I don't even want to, personally, I'm not aiming there. And with to bring it home to our game for SPS, my view would be $1 is a price point that has to be a major ceiling. Why? Because one, we touched it as on creation when we had no supply, and therefore, in some sense, people are going to be like, how are we going to react when we get there? So that'll be a very strong resistance point, $1. Plus, it's a round number. Plus, it's a huge monument, $1 from the pennies that we've been at. That's a massive place. I could see it, blowing off into 2 or something like that, but I can't see it going much crazier than that. And I could be wrong too. Here's the thing. I could be wrong about these things because I'm just speculating about psychology. I'm not holding up a fundamental, explanation as to why I'm right. I'm just saying I imagine the psychology of the people who are holding from a half a penny, a quarter of a penny, a 1 penny, 2 pennies is going to be mean that they will sell when we get into that dollar range. Personally, I imagine I would want to sell a significant amount of my SPS when we get into that dollar range. And here's the other thing. It's gonna suck. When Splinterlands sees massive price appreciations, when SPS token goes into moonshots, when it goes over $1, maybe into $2, it's gonna feel like, hey, I need more of this. I can't let any of it go. It's too valuable. The world's just beginning to recognize this. This game's only starting. Splinterlands, I heard Wakiki say the other day, it's just in beta. This experience is only going to grow, and when we grow, we're going to bring the masses, and when the institutional money comes, you've heard that story before with cryptocurrency. Understand that during bull markets, the bull talk gets so easy and so common, and it'll, if you let it, it will carry you away with dreams. So just try and be reasonable at all times. And while I would say, 100, 1,000, those to me seem like dreams. Those seem like missions to Pluto, not to the moon. And it's, again, not because I don't think the technology is meaningful. I think the technology could be used as you're describing and revolutionize economics. But I also believe that the greed of the natural greed of holders will see that they'll create massive selling pressure as we go into, those sorts of astronomical parabolic moves, which probably holds us down. And that applies to every token ever. And so for me, I'm looking for, like a 10 to a 40x and not more. And that depends on what token we're talking about. But imagine SPS goes 40x. What would that be from the low of, like, call it, I think 0.1. I think it was roughly 1.5 cents times 40. What would that be? That's only a 60-cent SPS, guys. Wow. That seems so attainable to me. What do you think? I think 60 cents is so attainable. Not today, not tomorrow, but like soon, sooner than you imagine. Is it in the next 3 months? Is it in the next 2 years? I don't care. That's when I say soon, I mean, within the next 5 years, I feel strongly, I'm willing to bet on 60 cent SPS. In fact, I suspect $1 is attainable. But see, if we get to $1, the heart is going to tell you we're going to 2. The heart is going to tell you we're going to 5. And again, if you bought in that 2 cent range and you 40x your money, you almost have to say, I don't even care if we keep going. At some point, you have to have a line in the sand where you say, I don't even care if it keeps going up. Good. You guys benefit. I'm okay. I'm getting off the ride because I've seen a multiplier that moves the needle. I've seen a multiplier that changes my life. My bags have gotten a significant enough gain that I'm willing to say, you know what? I'm going to take some off the table because I'd rather lock in this gain and risk losing some future gain than risk losing this gain. Because you can ride from 2 cents to 60 and then back down to 5. And I've been on that ride and it sucks. So that's the cryptocurrency market. That's the tokenomics. That's how I think XRP is going to relate to SPS. And yeah, thanks for the comment there, Gathering. I'm deeply interested in XRP. It's my second biggest bag. And I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. But SPS and Splinterlands, I think one day already, Splinterlands is a bigger bag for me. And one day SPS, I think, will literally retire me. If people haven't filled their SPS bags, they had better soon. It's looking at 1.5. It is looking at 1.5 cents, or so was the bottom. May hit 3 cents before the end of the month. SPS will hit $2 eventually. My belief, me too. I strongly believe SPS will hit $2.